We got proof of life, and I feel like as someone who actually got notification that like a hostage was still around, it was like, oh my god, relieved, happy, anxious.
It is entirely what we asked for, yet so much more.
Yes.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting, so come and join the conversation. Eyes to approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
It is early February 2023.
Groundhog Day.
This is episode number 623 of Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast. I don't have the episode number handy. I could have looked it up. I chose not to. But back in October of 2020, so 2 years, 4 months.
Yeah,
Care the 4?
just after the debut of Kamen Rider Saber.
That's exactly how I tell time, but I figured the people listening would have confused that with Kamen Rider O's, so I didn't want to.
There's no way they would. You could maybe confuse it with Kamen Rider Blade.
I definitely wouldn't have.
Okay.
Yeah. So, who is it?
Saber.
Back when
Saber, Patrick. Jesus, keep up.
Back when Kamen Rider Saber debuted.
In September of 2020.
Okay, so just after that.
Right.
Like, what, 4 episodes, 4 episodes in, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, maybe 4 episodes.
We had an idea of a thing we wanted to do that we thought would be impossible to do.
Yes.
And I'm going to say right now, we are still not telling you what it is.
It's not a second store, I'll tell you that much. Because that was impossible.
Now, would you call the next one a third store or just a second store? Second store redo?
Reboot, yeah.
I was going to spell it R-E-D-U-X.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's still a second store.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not that. Also,
Never.
it'll never be that.
Never. Sorry.
It's an off-site warehouse. No, it's not that either.
It's all the rage now.
So we had an idea for a thing, and it's one of those pie-in-the-sky challengers things, and I don't think you expected or knew, but
No.
I immediately tried to figure out what it would take to enact it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really interesting about our dynamic is that you'll say something sometimes about technology, and I'll be like, I don't know, and then 2 days later I'll be like, hey, I did it already. But there will be things about, like...
I just want to say that you have also made me think that's always going to happen.
Sure.
So even when you say, hey, this is a good idea, we'll work on this, I'll do it in April, in my head I'm like, he's doing it this weekend.
Yeah.
And usually, you're doing it this weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, not to segue or take a digression, but a lot of times it's
that's
just...
all we do here.
That's just because I'm trying to figure out, like, A, is this viable? And B, if it is, what is the best process for doing it? And in figuring those two things out, I'm 45% done.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, oh, I guess I better just do the rest of this. But what you bring to the table in this dynamic for these sort of situations is that I will say something where it's like, boy, it would be nice if this could happen, you know, creatively or...
Yeah, not technology-based.
People skills sort of stuff, where it's like, boy...
Or structurally, or
yeah,
like,
I mean,
you know...
definitely some construction
hardwarely,
things.
yeah.
But, like, frequently it's like, boy, it would be great to get this person for an event, or it'd be great to do a partnership with this company or whatever. And you will sort of file that away, and then an hour later, we'll start the process of doing that. And then frequently come to me and go, so we are doing this. And it's like, oh, wow, Jesus, that was literally just like a wish I had.
Yeah,
and it happened.
So 2 years, 4 months ago, we started working on this thing. And usually things like this, if it's just us doing it, we'll get it done. It may not be great. It may fail, but we'll still get it done.
Right.
But when we need to rely on other people, there's always extra time involved.
Sure.
Sometimes it's 2 years and 4 months. Sometimes it's longer.
Yeah, like we've had plenty of instances with the sale T-shirts where we've approached someone with a design, and now we've started to learn that, like, give people...
Approach somebody asking for a design.
Right, exactly. What did I say?
With a design.
Oh, sorry.
It just made it sound like we're saying, hey, draw this for us.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
This,
but like artists or designers that we've reached out to for designing the sale T-shirt, we have deadlines, and, you know, we try to be very flexible with those in the sense of, like, this window is good, but, you know, that's a hard, like, we have to have it by this date. And there have been, I think, once or twice where we've had to tell somebody, like, we can't use your design because we had to get something else ready, and we had to go with somebody else because this is not happening in time.
We literally have been told from the start, when you're dealing with creatives, lie about your deadline.
Yeah.
And I don't like doing that. And I will say, hey, for the sale shirt, we need it by the end of December
Right.
of every year.
Right.
Now, last year's sale shirt, James Zark got it to me like a day and a half after he said he would do it. This year, Casey Iris, maybe a week.
Yeah.
So these last 2 years, bang on.
Right.
And we've like...
But we give a lot of runway now. We
Yeah.
used to be a little bit more like reaching out to people in like late summer and fall, and more recently it's been like spring and summer to really get a sense of like, you know, people's schedules and how they can accommodate us, and, you know, making sure that there's enough room that people can feel like they can be creative instead of like, I gotta knock something out in a few weeks amongst other projects.
Even the Christmas card, we started the ideas going in July.
Yeah.
And it still came down to we're not going to have enough time to have everybody sign it, so we're going to have to print it.
Sure.
But that's just what happens when you work with creatives,
Sometimes you gotta make compromises.
But no, I do not lie about the due dates of things.
No, yeah. I mean, you don't want to... You want it to be just an honest dialogue with people where it's like, this is what we need and this
Right.
is when we need it by.
Sure.
And you want people to feel like they can tell you, hey, this is not going to happen. And then
Yeah.
you can go like, great, okay, we'll move it along instead of tricking people into delivering.
Specifically with the T-shirts, there was literally one creator who ghosted us
Yes.
after taking a down payment of sorts.
Uh-huh.
Another person who literally forgot about agreeing to it until we said, hey, the deadline passed. Are you, is this still happening? Then they're like, oh, right. And the next day, like, here you go. Okay.
And
you did this in a day.
And that was a design
Fine.
that I ended up thinking was good, and you were like, I don't know if you couldn't see it as good because you knew the story behind it.
Maybe.
You were and are mad about that.
Well, so one of our rules is leave it alone. And I know we're talking about the sale shirt now more than
Right.
what we were started to, but
just the general topic of dealing with creatives.
I will always try to clean up an image or, make it a little bit more print ready. There was literally a time where I wasn't going to do a thing, but our shirt company, like the rep that I deal with every year, I was going to give him a shout out. I forgot his name. It's John. I don't remember his last name. That's fine. He actually came to me and said, hey, I don't know how well this is going to print. You might want to change some. So I cleaned it up. I try to simplify things.
Right.
Obviously, everything has to be from the standpoint of this is being printed and going to be been seen on a shirt.
Yeah, the main thing we try and do with the sale T-shirts, with bookmarks, with Christmas cards, with drawings on the wall, we just try and give a little guidance of like, hey, these are things that we've learned problematically over the last however many times we've done this. The Rogues Gallery prints were a similar thing where it was just like, this is where it's going to be, and this is the size we've got, and this is how we're getting it printed, and then whatever you want to do with that is fine. The sale T-shirts are... The sale's called I Love You, But I've Chosen Comics. We'd like that incorporated somehow. It's going to print white ink on a red shirt. Here's some other shirts we've had done up, so you can get an idea of what's there. Do what you want.
There was literally a Rogues Gallery print one time where we got the art, and you're like, no. And I'm usually a point person on this, and I'm like, I can't be the one to tell them we can't use this. I need you to do it. And you're like, fine.
I don't even remember which one that was.
And then they went in and redid it, and it was a much, much better print. It wasn't that it was a bad print. It was that just they only used a small portion of the full vertical image. So it didn't fill the page all the way. there was a lot of negative space.
I don't even remember that print.
And
oh wait, I do.
And then for the very first one, the first print we did was Amy Reeder, and she had put her name, like she did it all in marker.
And tiny too.
8.5 by 11, which is fine. But she's like, yeah, this is my first time using marker. And she killed it. It was so good. But she messed up on her name. She's like, I don't know what to do about this.
Right.
So I'm like, that's no problem. I could Photoshop your name over that.
Right.
But it's like, oh, we weren't, like it was going to say Amy Reeder at the bottom. Whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that was our very first one. And we have that marker illustration hanging up in Sidekicks. And it is spectacular for someone who, quote, never worked with markers before.
He's just screwing around.
Just killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. So, in this 2 years and 4 months, we've been in steady contact with the person, people,
party
company,
or parties involved.
I don't know, regularly, just touching base. And at all points, we're like, look, if this is not going to work, no harm, no foul.
Yeah. But it was also a thing that we didn't have a deadline on. It was mostly just like, we would love for this to happen. If it can happen, while the store is open, that would be great.
One of the emails was, "Hey, this could be done by March, maybe of 2021."
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason we bring it up is today we got a very good email.
Yes.
About the status of this project,
yes.
And like we said at the beginning of this, it is still months away.
Yeah, we got proof of life, and I feel like as someone who actually got notification that like a hostage was still around, it was like, oh my god, relieved, happy, anxious. It
is entirely what we asked for, yet so much more.
Yes.
Yet completely different.
And that gets at why we try not to give a lot of instruction or direction on these things. Because this is an artist and I want them to feel free to come up with good ideas and to plus up, the vague guidelines that we give people. I love getting stuff back and being like, oh my god, I would have never thought of that, or this is so much cooler. I told you earlier today that this is a project that I've tried not to think about what it might end up looking like, because I didn't want to build expectations. I wanted to just experience, the end result more or less.
Yeah, sure.
And that this was a step towards that, and it was amazing.
And even if it never gets done, the fact that we have this much, it's kind of a major achievement for us.
I feel like it's closer to getting done than it's ever been.
Oh, no, for real.
Just
but even if it doesn't happen, this is enough. Mm-hmm. This is enough.
Pretty cool.
And this is the thing where it's like, man, we know a lot of people in the industry. We've been very lucky to make really good friends out of doing this. And there's people
several really good enemies.
Sure. But that's how you know you're doing well.
Sure.
But there's certain levels, do you remember the point, we talked about this on and off over the years, where we almost had a Grant Morrison event?
Yes.
Right.
I do remember that discussion.
And that is a thing you look at and think, we shouldn't have that. I don't mean oh no, it's wrong. I'm like, no, who are we to have this?
Yeah, we talk a few times about having René Telgemeier sign at the store.
Yeah, twice.
And we always append it with, we'll never get Reina ever again because Reina's way too big for us.
Yeah.
Reina shouldn't be appearing or signing at a tiny comic shop on Chicago's North Side when she could be appearing in front of 1,000+ people in an auditorium.
Yeah. I'm going to dust this old chestnut off, but when we were first opening and we had the idea for the window designs, where we'd have different artists do different windows.
Yeah.
And have a projector that projected into the window, and that projector never worked out because the technology wasn't there.
Yeah, we ended up talking to an AV company about it, and it was just
you want to build a 12-foot room around this window to keep it dark?
Yeah, so it was oh no, that's to the other wall, basically. Right. We can't do that.
So we already had 6 of the windows done. We needed 3 more. Mm-hmm. And we reached outside of, because the 6 windows were our friends. Scotty, Mike, Tim, Chris Burnham, Greg Titus, Art Balthazar.
Yes.
So those are the 6 right there.
Right.
People that we knew, people that we didn't feel bad asking.
Right.
But then we're like, hey, let's reach out further.
Right.
We did Colleen Coover.
For the Doors.
We did Carrie Kalin, Halo and Sprocket.
Yep. Chris Giruso.
Chris Giruso, which that relationship worked so well. He did the windows again for us.
Yes.
And we won awards for those windows.
That have been up for 10 years now?
Yeah, thanks, Chris Giruso. But we both love Takeshi Miyazawa.
Yeah.
And
huge fans of Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane and sidekicks. The comic book sidekicks that Takeshi Miyazawa drew.
Jay Torres wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Published by Oni Press back in the day. There's a little tiny book. Jay Torres, Takeshi Miyazawa.
Is this what we're doing? Are we showing them off to each other?
We are, yeah.
Because we each have copies within arm's reach?
Original series edited by C.B. Cebulski.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cats.
Graphic novel published in June of 2022. It is over 20 years old. That's the collection.
Wait, what? June of 2022?
2002, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Man.
Too many twos,
That was last year.
Too many twos, Patrick.
Yeah, June of 2002. So we were big Takeshi Miyazawa fans before there was a Challengers.
Yes.
So anyway, it was a situation where I pulled up I went to his website, looked at his contact stuff. He's like, I'm not doing commissions. I think he was living in Japan at the time.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And I just cold emailed him and said, hey, I don't know if you consider this a commission or not, but we're opening a comic store in Chicago. We got a window available. We'd love to have you do it. And because I had just been on the Crankcast, the Mike Norton and Chris Crank podcast that he had listened to, he got back to me right away and said, I heard you on the Crankcast. Your store sounds great. I would love to do a window. Oh. So, like, Takeshi Miyazawa is someone who, hopefully this year is huge for him with Mech Cadet.
Yeah, I hope there's some good money in that for him and Greg Pak.
And that was the first time someone's like, yeah, what you're doing sounds great. I want to be involved. And we're like, oh my God, Takeshi Miyazawa.
But why?
So things like that have happened over the years. So to be able to have that happen again,
yes,
is pretty great.
At a level that honestly, it is still hard for me to process it.
Right.
Like Patrick had said about Grant Morrison, part of me wants to go, you're too big for this.
Yeah, you know?
You're way too big to be doing this.
Don't you know who we are? Because you shouldn't. You shouldn't know who we are.
You're great. We're weird.
So, we're such weirdos. This will come to, hopefully, make sense down the road.
Yeah,
I don't know, 6 months, something?
I would hope it would be by the end of summer at the absolute latest. Yeah. Depending on a few variables.
Yeah,
in our control and out of our control.
Yeah, I feel like the first part will happen faster than we expect.
Yes.
But then the implementation of the second half is going to take more time to be able to work out.
Yeah, on a completely unrelated topic, Patrick, we have our store-wide sale coming up.
What?
Just days after this podcast goes out.
That doesn't sound right.
February 7th, it runs through February 13th. It's available both in-store and online at challengerscomics.com. And hey, if the weather's too cold for you in Chicago, but you don't want to get your stuff shipped out, you can always choose local pickup for your order. Any orders over $100, post-discount, pre-tax, qualify for a free sale T-shirt. As Patrick said, this year's shirt designed by Casey Iris. It's a lovely design. We're very excited about it.
Casey Iris from Red and Buried Demon.
Buried Demon and Red, I think we both have in the store.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're on the website, but you can pick them up locally. They do qualify for the sale discount. Sale is 25% off everything in the store. That's online and in store. Sale excludes new this week product, which basically is only the stuff releasing on February 8th. We'll probably let the stuff from the previous week qualify for the sale because it's just easier to do it.
Yeah.
We're moving stuff around.
Sure. Next year is going to be one of those sale years where...
It's like midway through?
Well, no, there is no change.
Oh, great.
Because it's going to go Wednesday to Tuesday. Yeah. It's like, that's it.
I love it.
Only, there's no... Yeah.
So the sale excludes anything marked new this week in the store or tagged new this week on the website. The good news with the website is that we should, when I finish doing it this weekend, Have everything tagged appropriately in the back end, so throw things in your cart. If it qualifies for the discount, you'll get it automatically. If it does not qualify for the discount, you won't get the discount on it.
However, if you throw something in your cart now, there's a good chance that it gets bought out from underneath you because other people will want to be buying stuff.
It goes without saying, it should go without saying that the sale is first come, first serve, both online and in store. You cannot put something aside now and then pick it up during the sale at the discount. The sale does exclude held items. The sale also excludes any consignment items that we have in the store, which is very few things now, but it's mostly just stuff in our local section that we haven't already paid for.
Yeah, it's not. We can't give discounts on things where the money's going to someone else.
But the main thing is that the local stuff that anyone would actually want is the stuff that will be discounted because you've already paid for that.
Sure.
Like all the Rachel Bard stuff qualifies for the discount.
Sure. Because not consignment.
Correct. We've already bought and paid for it because we love Rachel Bard and we just buy stuff from her outright because it's just a smarter move for us. That sale again runs February 7th starting at 11 a.m. Central Time through February 13th at 5 p.m. Central Time. One of the cool things that we're able to do this year, I hope, fingers crossed this actually works out.
Oh, wait, hold on. There, they're crossed.
Thanks. Last year, anyone who qualified for a t-shirt via the website was notified after the sale closed about what t-shirt size they might want, and if they wanted it picked up locally or if they wanted it shipped out, and then we would have to invoice people for the $5 shipping cost. The good news is this year, I think, we have a solution where after you check out online, before it takes you to the sale confirmation screen, you'll have a little intermediary page where it'll allow you to choose the size of your t-shirt if you've qualified for one, small to 4XL, and then whether you want it for local pickup, which is free, or shipping, which is $5, and then you just kind of pay for that right then and there. And everything's taken care of.
Oh, no, so we have to keep that shipping money aside for a month?
We'll have an idea of what it is at the end of it, and then we can just kind of deduct that.
Sure, we will.
But yeah, hopefully it should be a thing where right then, when you're making your sale purchase online, it will be all taken care of and you won't have anything else to worry about. That said, maybe next week's episode we talk about how that didn't work. We did have to email everyone. But regardless, we'll make sure you're taken care of. Sale is very important for us. The last week plus has been absolutely miserable sales-wise. And
the last 2 Wednesdays, there's not been a lot of product, but these have been the lowest Wednesdays we've had since, 2019.
Yeah, troubling sales levels. So if you want to keep us afloat and also want to eventually hear about this fun new thing that we were talking about, making a purchase of the sale would probably be a very good idea. That would be very much appreciated on our behalf. And also, a lot of good books, man. We got a lot of books.
Do this for you, and then just, and for us. But for you.
Yeah. There's always, as I'm walking the shelves right before the sale, a bunch of stuff I'm looking at thinking, this should go. Like, if I was a comics fan and I didn't own a comic shop and I was buying comics and I had a store that only did a store-wide sale once a year and they did it off of everything, same flat discount, and I walked by that Jack Kirby's Fourth World Library slipcase and I knew that thing was going to be 25% off, I would snap that up, man. And there's a bunch of stuff like that.
It's always funny to me how much, how often people want recommendations for the sale. Mm-hmm. More than during Christmas, more than any other time. Sure. And it's like, we have to work so much harder to make 25% less money.
Yeah, I always think it's a little cute, though, because it's a thing where I know there's some people who are asking for recommendations because they're trying to get to a level for the t-shirt.
Right.
And they can't think of what else to get, and they want to spend that money. Also, let me double back for a second. I gave some erroneous information. The online portion of the sale starts at noon Central Time on February 7th.
Wow.
We have it start an hour after the in-store event because, honest to God, this is the reason. We cannot open at 11 and immediately start packing orders. It's insane. We got to have at least an hour buffer before we start having to pull orders and stuff. So if you are looking to immediately on February 7th get that sale discount and get your stuff bought, noon Central Time is when it's going to be scheduled for. Online. In-store, 11 a.m. is when we open the door.
One of the things I'm blissfully unaware of is how much extra back-end work you have to do to make the sale function properly. And a month or so ago, end of December, we decided to redo our website entirely.
Yes.
Completely top to bottom. and it's ready to go, but we cannot change it until after the sale because we know the current sale or the current website can handle all the discount functionality that's necessary for a successful online sale. We don't know that about the new website, and we don't want to find out that it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
I don't know how much that's the case. I mean, I'm nervous about it, and so I would prefer to just use the old website we've got because it's no big deal. And then the platform's still the same. It's Shopify. We're just changing the template. So in theory...
Oh, sure. It's that easy. Because you didn't know work.
I'm just saying, like, we've changed the website around before, and it's been basically rebuilding it from scratch.
Yeah.
Even using the same, like, programming language or the same whatever. It's basically just... like putting a different wallpaper on your phone, more or less. Like the phone's still the same. The everything is still the same on the back end. You're just changing visually how it populates.
I think you're doing yourself a disservice by describing it that basically.
Well, I don't mean it to reflect how much work I've put in so much as I mean to say, like, technically there's literally nothing that should happen if we switch the template as far as how discounts would display, how people would check out. Like, there's nothing that would go wrong on that end. It's just... I would rather just leave it as is and not have to worry about visually how the website looks alongside trying to do 7 days of the sale.
Sure.
Because it's a lot of packing. It's a lot of ringing up.
Sure.
Hopefully.
It was a big internal discussion because this is going to have more people visiting our website than normal. So, hey, it'd be great to have them see the new functionality and the new design.
But here's...
No, it's this. Please, you go.
The other thing
go ahead.
Is that, and this is just trying to think, like, strategically about, like, how to run a store and how to maximize people's attention. We could launch the website at the same time as we're doing a sale and kind of surprise people with, like, hey, you came for the sale, look at all this cool website. Or we could do the sale, and then, like, a week later, we could go, hey, we have a new website. And then hopefully draw more eyes back to it, 2 visits rather than 1.
Hopefully is the key word.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't expect that we'll have any problem rolling the new website out after the sale. I'd assume it's probably going to be closer to, like, the weekend.
Fine.
So that's, what is that, the 8th, 9th, 17th?
Well, the 14th is
17th?
Wednesday. So, or
Okay.
13th is...
13th is a Monday.
Okay, so
17th.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
that Friday. We'll see. I don't see it being a problem, but we'll probably roll it out on the 17th or close to it. There will be an email to everyone who's ever used Shopify saying, "Hey, we've got a new website."
Wow. So soon after a previous email about...
Might even be a special gift in that email for people.
Ooh.
If they're willing to open it up and look at it.
Girl Scout cookies. Love it.
Yeah.
Also for the sale, you had to test a whole bunch of new apps, but also for the new website, you had to test a whole bunch of new apps. Apps, plugins, tiles, whatever you want to call them.
Apps. No, they're apps.
Appetizers.
Yeah, they're very appetizing. Some of them are ones that we'll just be using briefly for the duration of the sale, like the little pop-up thing we do after you check out to tell you that you got a t-shirt and ask you to pick your size and your delivery option. That's a thing that we only really need for like a week. So once that's done, we'll just get rid of it.
For sure.
And some of the back-end stuff we're using to clean up things before we roll out the website. Hopefully a lot of those we can just... Not a lot of those. I mean, I think there's like one of them that we can just say like, okay, we got everything we needed out of that. But yeah, unfortunately, a lot of what we're doing on the back end for the website at this point is stuff we'll be doing long term, and it's cleaning everything up. One of the weird things is that because everything that we put into our Shopify database now is received through Managed Comics, Managed Comics has a very cool, uniform way of titling everything. Amazing Spider-Man by Wells Remedial Jr., TPB, volume spelled out 01, and then whatever the subtitle is after that. We have almost 15 years of pre-Managed Comics data that we have in our database that was, however, Diamond decided to call something during that period in time. So there's TPs and TPBs and trade paperbacks and GNs and titles that midway through would slightly alter or misspelled one month. So it's a lot of going through all the different graphic novels and trying to get all of them formatted. They're not all exactly the same. That's a much longer version of this process. But the short-term version is like, if you got 10 volumes of Saga, they should all be spelled exactly the same way. You know, they should all be formatted title-wise in a uniform fashion.
It's funny you say that because listening and watching Managed Comics' Meanwhile video today, they brought up the fact like PRH now has Kodansha and Vertical.
Yes.
And within that company, they have all sorts of different ways to talk up, like to name the same product, the same title.
Yeah.
How it's not even like distributors have it differently, but publishers have it differently themselves as well.
There's been a bunch of graphic novel stuff where it could be a GN, it could be a TP, it could be an SC.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of cleaning that stuff up. I have, I'm waiting for word back from an app developer that we were using, Molly Jane and myself.
And Andrew.
And Andrew briefly, to merge some reformatted tags.
I was not doing any of that.
That another app had broken, or retitled, both, to automate that process. And they seemed like they were confident it could happen, but it was just a thing where they would have to
figure it out.
Yeah, they'd have to program the logic for that and then send it to me and go, okay, now you can do it.
Well, speaking of programming the logic for that and also Managed Comics, one of the things that they were working on recently was an error that you called to their attention, specifically how it...
That is my part-time job, is alerting Managed Comics and the programming team to errors I found.
But this is one that they've been spending a good chunk of time on, crediting you for bringing it up.
Yay.
And hope to have results for that.
Great.
They also will be... And I can talk about this because it was all online.
This isn't a private conversation.
Yeah. Next week we should get... some people will get a beta test version of their order history functionality.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yes. That was a big thing we're happy for in this week's.
The major back-end stuff that Molly Jane and myself will be working on probably for till the end of time is one of the things that we really like about Managed Comics is that when we import new items in, it gives it writer and artist tags. So it makes it easy to do searches for, you can type in like Alan Moore and anything tagged writer Alan Moore will come up. With the new website, we'll have enhanced... Patrick, you have your hand up. A question?
Yes. Do you tag Alan Moore for Miracle Man?
We'll have to create a tag that says original writer. We'll make that happen.
No, I mean, like...
I don't tag anything yet. Like,
okay.
Everything is just...
Shouldn't you go in and just change the tag, or add an Alan Moore tag?
I don't...
Because adding original writer will not help anyone.
No, of course. I was joking.
I know. But also, the way you joke, sometimes you would still do that.
So
you may still make an original writer tag and put it in there anyway.
I might do both. So this is getting slightly off topic for a second. One of the problems that Managed Comics will always have is that the data that they give us is the data they get from publishers and distributors. Yep. I don't know that the distributors, i.e. Penguin Random House and Diamond, the data they got from Marvel includes Alan Moore's name for Miracle Man. So currently, I would guess, no, the Miracle Man Omnibus does not have a writer Alan Moore tag. It probably just has like an artist Gary Leach tag or an artist Alan Davis tag. It doesn't have a writer at all because they're not allowed to credit him.
Right.
But what Molly Jane and myself will be doing is anything pre-Managed Comics doesn't have those tags. It doesn't have any creator tags on them. So we have to go through and apply them to basically every graphic novel that we probably still have in stock. I'm not going to do it for comics because at a certain point comics just come off the shelves and it's not as big a deal.
But how do you know which graphic novels don't have it?
So the first version of the process is probably going to be us, as we place weekly reorders on Sundays and Wednesdays. On Mondays and Thursdays, one of us, we'll probably divvy up the task somehow, we'll go through those reorders and then open up item by item in Shopify to go, okay,
wow,
do these have tags? Do these have solicit text? Because not everything from the Diamond era has solicit text.
Yep.
Everything should have photos because I did that a year ago. But just making sure everything is good. This is a thing that I'd sort of talked to Brian about a year or so ago, and it never seemed like it was doable, but maybe I'll say it on this podcast, and maybe he'll have a way to expedite this process. If there's any way that we could take a CSV Excel file download of our inventory from Shopify with SKUs and barcodes and everything else, and then take essentially the Managed Comics Geek Fetch database and then say, please add any solicit text and tags to what we've got. Don't overwrite them, though.
Just add them.
Like, even if it was just tags. Like, tags would be enough, because solicit text, we can go through and find that. Most of the stuff has it. It's not a big deal. Putting the tags on there would save us literally a year. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. It would take us that long of background work to get everything looking good in the system. And I'd love it if that could happen faster, because honestly, that is one of the biggest assets our newer version of the website can have, is letting people sort through stuff in the way that they want to, where they can do a search for Batman stuff, and then they can look at the side and go, oh, I want anything Scott Snyder did that's in stock that, is under $50 or whatever. And it's like, boom, here you go. This is what you got. So if there's any way that we could take two sets of Excel spreadsheets and just kind of merge them together and re-upload them, that would be, oh my God, my hands are in a praying configuration right now.
They literally are.
Although,
Dal, I've been told by Sunday school teachers that the way you're doing it seems like this. Your fingers are pointing down toward the double. Yeah, there you go. Point up to God.
Okay. My fingers are pointing towards Canada, Ontario, Canada.
That way.
It's gonna go through the earth and then out again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Taking a long way around.
Sure are.
But yeah, that's
hoping to pass by some independently run developers from India first. Is that why you're going all the way around?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Potentially. I believe the development team is in the Ukraine.
I know, but that's why I said independently. You're gonna outsource it.
It's true. Yeah, the new website hopefully is nearly ready to go. Visually, I think we've got it where we want it. I changed some stuff around to update things from the test version.
I got to tell you, I was walking to a breakfast establishment this morning and using my phone to place an order ahead of time so it would be ready for me. Mm-hmm. And I was in the out of doors where it was very sunny, and their app has a white background. Mm-hmm. I could not read the screen. It was too bright outside for me to see the screen. So I literally think the conversations we had yesterday and Molly Jane's comment specifically were right on for those regards.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what people think of it and how usable and.
But once we switch over, I'll also have to walk outside on a sunny day and see if I can buy stuff off our website.
Sure. Do you want to? Would it be easier if we put the monitor and the computer from the store outside?
No, it's going to be the phone because again, we don't.
No one buys things off their computer.
Monitors are we're straying away from that. Like that's not our test facility size
sure
anymore. Nor should it be.
Nope.
Just because I'm a dinosaur who does everything on a desktop.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'll definitely use like restaurants' apps to pre-order stuff. Mostly because when I'm doing it, I'm usually on a train or someplace where I'm not in front of a computer. But otherwise, shopping, like if I'm buying stuff from a store, if I'm buying a physical good, especially something I'm going to get delivered, it's going to be on a desktop.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, it's because you're a dinosaur.
I am. I'm an old man. And I shop like an old man shops.
Just buying corncob pipes and chicken pot pies.
Mostly action figures.
Old men don't
like
toys.
Like old men.
Old men buy burlap and... Oh, no, those are manly men.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, last week... Oh, you know what? I should pause here just for a second so we can thank all of our lovely patrons.
You do that.
It's a new month, and it's now time to thank our Patreon supporters, including our annual patrons, Becca Hilburn and Joseph Coco, Brent Helt, Dal's mom, Diane Bush, Philip Sablik from Boom Studios, Jose Villagomez, Josh Crowley of Westfield Comics, our bestest wrestling watching pal, Michael Lee, Michael Romanenko, Mike Loveday, our patrons who have created their own tier, Andrew, Drew Troit Comics, Aaliyah, Bridget K. Neville, Chris Burton, Claudine Neville, our other generous patrons from the Say My Name pledge level, Arun Singh, Ben-Hur Benedict Calaguas,
Brad Brooks, from Dumb Shit Done Well.
Braden. Manage Comics Own, Brian Garside. Christopher Haith. President of the Brian Garside Fan Club, Django Boren. Drew Triner and Ashley Edwards. Challengers Reservist, Fallon Mackerline. My brother, George Brower. Heidi D. Holly Aitchison. Jacob Sorelli of Kamikaze. Josh Trigg. Mark Hammond of Aw Yeah Comics. Margie, Keith, Logan, and Malcolm Springham. Matt Armstrong. Mitchell Davies of All Star Comics in Melbourne, Australia. Morgan Dynamite Perry. Nick Baldwin. My longtime pal, Robert Burns. Ron Payne. Ryan Hecht. Sean Bowers. Tad Eggleston and Johnny Williams. Thomas Nagovin of Century Guild. Walt Grogan. And if you want to hear your name thanked on this very podcast once a month, head over to patreon.com/challengers and pledge at the $5 Say My Name level. And a big thank you to all our other patrons at the various other pledge levels. Last week, I did promise people a winger analogy. And before I get to it, I do want to point out, but by the time this episode airs, even for patrons, the brand new Winery Dogs album 3 will be available.
That's an unfortunate title to have to explain to people.
I know.
Because you got to pause.
Yeah. The third Winery Dog album, called 3. Although, to be fair, Chickenfoot put out an album called 3 when it was, in fact, their second album. And they did that on purpose.
There's a fourth Bad Boys movie in the works.
Oh, no.
But the third Bad Boys movie is called Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah. Oh, with a 4 in it.
No, but it's... I think a lot of people are going to assume, like, oh, wait, you can't call it Bad Boys for Life or for
Whatever.
anything else because
Yeah.
you called the last one For Life.
Yeah. As a collector, as somebody who wants everything by a thing that they are interested in, you know, if you have a creator you like, you want to get all their books.
Sure.
We've
all been there.
If there's a band you like, you want to get all their music. So for Winger's album from 2009, I think, Karma, there was a European bonus track that I had tracked down, and now it lives on that album digitally because all my media is digital now.
Like a dinosaur.
Although I'm very disappointed that I cannot order a Winery Dogs LP because they're not making one. Because I would, as a dinosaur, I'd go back to vinyl. But I was able to get the Temps album pre-ordered.
Nice.
I think it was just a matter of it not working at a certain point.
Yeah.
So there's a bonus song, and it's digitally in my album, and I don't have a playlist set up which would solve this problem, and I should do it, I just haven't done it. It's a weird little harpsichordy instrumental that's not terribly long, and if you are listening past that, like if you want to keep listening to that album or start again or more Winger or what have you, as you should, it breaks up the flow of everything, and I kind of hate it. So the question is, as a completist, can I just delete it? I'm never going to seek it out. I'm never going to be like, man, what's that Winger harpsichord song? I'm not going to do that. However, what if I want to one day and it was difficult to come by?
The only reason you would ever do that was to make a point about how bad the song was.
Maybe as I get older, like, I'm going to be like, I want to learn how to play harpsichord. How can I relate it to my interests? Oh, Kip Winger. He knows how to do that.
Old man Patrick, deep into harpsichord music.
At what point can you say, oh, I love the fandom of this thing, I don't need everything. Like, you don't get every Kamen Rider thing.
No.
But you get...
Oh, God, no.
But you get every Kamen Rider thing of the things you get. Like...
Sort of, yeah.
What if... I don't know how to describe this in your language. See, but what if the belts was just garbage?
That's the thing, I don't. Like, there's certain... So they're called drivers. The belts the Kamen Riders wear...
They're such... Condescension.
They're called drivers.
They're called drivers.
They're called drivers. I've explained this all to you in detail. So each year there's a new belt for the new hero, and because these are TV shows designed to sell toys to Japanese children, they make a lot of belts. Each hero might have a different belt or a different plugin for it, or blah blah blah, and power-ups and different versions. So they're spending a whole year selling you different belts, role-play toys. There's shows like 01 where I love the design and the interaction with the collectibles is really fun. But then there's shows like Saber, which I'm watching right now, where I don't like it.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Saber from September 2020?
Yes, the very same.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know that one.
You know it.
Yeah.
I don't like the Saber Henshin device. I don't like the driver. It just doesn't work for me. It's a thing.
Sorry, can you please define Henshin for the people listening?
Henshin is literally transform. That's what the heroes say when they're going to turn from a human being into a superhero.
Hadouken!
They shout Henshin, and it literally is transform.
In Cybertronian, that is...
It is. They have a whole different culture. So even though I've been getting the DX belts and stuff, I don't get all of them, and even for a show I don't necessarily get every single one because they just, at a certain point, it's diminishing returns. They're all fairly similar. I collect the SH Figure Arts for the shows I watch, but there are some designs I'm just like, I can skip that. I would just be getting it to get it.
This entire analogy is contrary to my point. So
No. I think it is to your point, which is that you have to draw a line at some point.
Sure.
There's nothing in this world that you'll ever be a fan of 100%, and it's okay to find...
Richie Kotzen, thank you.
What if he does a reggae album?
Fuck you.
Right? That'll be the point, and it's like...
I would still buy it. Did you not hear what I said?
But no, you're grappling with the
I
thing
literally
that
have
everybody
a Robert
has
Mitchum
grappled with.
Calypso album, which I will never listen to.
Right.
Oh, no, I don't. Well, I get rid of it when I move.
See?
But I had it for
the
a
thing
while.
is, you're aware of it now.
Yeah.
Like, we all, when we collect things, have this idea of, I will never get sick of this, or I want to get all of them. And then something will happen where, because of capitalism, you will get pushed to a threshold where you'll have to say, I can't continue this journey. I can't go there with you, Winger. I have to say no. Like, I'm not less of a fan. I just can't get to this place that you want to go to.
Kip Winger did, in fact, write a symphony, just like Joe Jackson did, and put it out. And he was... Joe Jackson won a Grammy for it. Kip Winger was nominated for a Grammy for his. And I have it, but it's not in my Winger stuff because it's a Kip Winger thing.
It's like...
And also, I will never listen to it again.
To bring it back to comics...
He also did an entire soundtrack for a Jack the Ripper stage play that someone made.
I have several Mac McCon soundtracks.
And I've never even bothered to buy it.
And they're kind of decent. But it's nothing I'd ever just sit and listen to. Bring it back to comics for a second. There's a lot of...
Thank you for that.
Sure. There's a lot of people who are Spider-Man fans, right? I think we can agree to that?
Yes.
Spider-Man is a hugely popular character, and there's people who are incredibly devoted to that character as fans. The amount of people on planet Earth who have every single Amazing Spider-Man comic book, every single, I mean every cover, every second print,
got you.
Every single comic book,
Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Marvel Team Up, Marvel Tales,
every 1 in 100, 1 in 500 variant.
I think the answer to that is zero. I think no one can do that.
I guarantee you there's probably one person on the planet who has that. And it's the amount of people that could conceivably have that, single digits.
Yeah.
Does that mean that every other person who collects Spider-Man isn't a real fan or doesn't care enough? No, it's that everyone's got a little line they've got to draw. And you can still love something without, like, being defined by it, essentially.
So you're saying I should delete that song?
I'm saying you are fine to delete that song, and you won't be as bothered by it as you think you will.
I think it's
if
because you never want to hear it in the car.
I definitely don't. If you want, put it on a flash drive.
And bury it in the backyard.
Bury it in the yard. That way you'll know it's there and you won't be tempted to go get it because it's hard to get to. But you'll still have it somewhere.
All right, Dal, I've got 3 other topics to get to.
Ready.
They are the ones in red ink. Why don't you pick?
Ooh.
You may not understand what they are.
I think I vaguely do.
I think you do.
Let's do the third one.
Well, go ahead.
Most of the third one's because I don't think I know what that one is. Holiday FOC Switch.
No, it's Holiday FOC Scarlet
Oh,
Witch.
Scarlet Witch. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what got switched on Holiday FOCs? Like, I guess we're getting it.
Full disclosure, it took me a few seconds to figure out what that meant when I looked at it just now as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what Patrick's referring to is that the second issue of the new Scarlet Witch ongoing series shipped this past week. Steve Orlando, Sarah Pichelli, backup story by two creators who I do not remember. Chris Allen, I think, was the artist on the Storm story. The problem is we have already sold out of it. Penguin Random House has sold out of it. Diamond has sold out of it. Marvel sold out of it, and they've announced a second print and a 1 in 25 second print ratio variant. We sold out of it midway through the day on a very slow Wednesday.
Yeah.
If it had been a regular strength Wednesday, we probably would have sold out by noon.
First of all, we've gotten a lot of people to add it since number 1 came out.
Sure. But, I mean, technically, that shouldn't affect things because, well, here's the trick. It shouldn't affect things if they added it through Managed Comics because
they can't add it.
In theory,
it picks it up for
their
3,
order would start
but there's
at
ones
3.
that we've added for people.
That's the ones.
Yeah.
Like anyone who comes up to the counter and says, hey, can you put me down for Scarlet Witch, which, as Patrick noted, bunch of people, those go in manually, and that means they start with the next issue. So we sold out right away, and the reason for that is that when we had to close our orders on issue 2 of Scarlet Witch, we had not received issue 1 of Scarlet Witch in the store yet. So not only were we working off of the subscription numbers pre-issue 1, which, as noted, lower than the subscription numbers pre-issue 2.
Quite different, one might say.
We also had no idea what the strength of the series was going to be. Scarlet Witch last had a series like 5 years ago, maybe?
Trial of Magneto, which was Scarlet Witch based.
Yeah, but I mean, that was an X-Men thing.
Right, no, but my point was that it wasn't well received.
Yeah, but it sold well because it was an X-Men thing. But we didn't know what this new creative team was going to do, and we didn't know how people would respond to it. Again, subscription numbers pre-issue 1 were not super high. We ordered what we thought was a strong number across a few different covers. Rapidly sold through on it because we read it and went, oh my god, Sarah Pichelli's art is amazing. It's way better than it's been in a long time. So we sold very fast on it, but the problem was we'd already ordered issue 2. And by the time issue 2 came out, we had very few copies for the shelf, and there were less covers this time around because we didn't carry some of the open order variants. I don't know if we had... I think we just had the A cover and the ratio variant for the shelf.
All we wanted were the Strike Force Morituri homage covers.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That is not something that we would have wanted.
So, yeah, this was a situation where because we were having to close orders before we had any sales data, we naturally... And I think rightly, even though this turned out to be something where we sold out very fast, we ordered conservatively.
Yeah.
We did not know if it would... Like, we didn't cut our numbers in half or anything. I don't want to make it sound like that.
But you almost never order for number 2 what you order for number 1.
No, you assume a certain amount of people are going to pick up issue 1 without getting issue 2 or buy...
Multiple covers of issue 1.
Yeah, like, everything goes down from 1 to 2. But the problem was we sold out really fast of 1, and then a lot of those people stuck around for 2.
And it was too late.
The good news is
late.
We were able to get an order in before Penguin Random House completely sold out of the Planet of the Apes variant.
Yes.
That, like, the only covers that were left in stock were the ones that were, like, the Planet of the Apes one and then the Storm one, and it's like, at least the Planet of the Apes one, Scarlet Witch is on the cover. So people will look at that and go, oh, Scarlet Witch. The Storm cover, great cover, Black History Month cover. Storm's in a backup. It's not a Storm comic book.
Yeah.
People are going to walk right by that thinking it's an X-Men thing when they're looking for a Scarlet Witch thing.
I don't want to be devil's advocate here.
Yeah, go on.
Because I'm not going to be.
Too late, sold out.
Hypothetically, what would you have done if you had been given a preview copy, a PDF of issue 1 before orders were due?
I probably would have... Well... It's tricky, because on the one hand, I probably would have had more confidence in our issue 1 numbers, but I don't know that I would have... I didn't have any sales data, and that's what I order issue 2s off of, is like, I can't order it off of how much I like a book. That's what you can order issue 1 off of.
Well, my point was if you had thought you would have ordered more of 1, then you would have looked at those 1 numbers and ordered more of 2 than what we ordered.
Maybe. It's so subjective, because while I would enjoy it more... I don't know that people were going to like it.
Yeah.
I don't know that people were going to pick it up at all. And if they did, I'm as happy as anyone that people came back for the Viv Vision Spotlight issue. I love Viv Vision.
Of course you do.
I wish she was on Art for Windows. But
she's on my arm, so I don't have to worry about that. Right there.
That's true.
Bam. Thanks,
really
Jason Muir. Thanks, Voracious and By the Horns artist Jason Muir, who also did a variant cover for... a book I forgot that came out this week.
Yeah.
We had it, though.
So, yeah, this was a situation where the expedited final order cutoff system for the holidays kind of screwed us and to a lesser extent Marvel on sales for this book because
But also our customers.
Yeah, and readers, basically. We're the end user, the reader, is the one who most got screwed by this. But it's a thing that I would hope that the publishers would maybe keep in mind for next year, because I haven't checked the calendar recently, but I'm pretty sure there's still a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, and a New Year's in 2023. I don't know what months they're in, but I think they're there near the end of the year.
Well, if there is Christmas, we need to start the Christmas card earlier. By the way, all that talk of not getting the artist's way.
Yeah.
Like, next year's Christmas card I've already designed in my head, and I'll just be saying, hey, Greg, I want you to draw this.
Sure.
Which is the opposite of what we normally do.
Well, make sure you pay him beforehand. I think you owe him a chicken sandwich or a hamburger or something.
Do it. It's funny because I can say this. He doesn't listen to this. I had no way of... I've never met his wife because they got married after he moved away. And he didn't really have a big wedding thing.
Okay.
So I only found her on LinkedIn.
Are they not? Do they not have like a social media presence as a husband and wife?
No. Okay. He's got all his work stuff.
Okay.
But yeah. Also, I don't know if she goes by her maiden name or whatever. But anyway, I found her on LinkedIn. So I messaged her saying, hey, you don't know me, but, I want to do something for you guys for everything Greg's been doing for us. But I don't know anything about where you live. Can you help me out? I turned off all of my LinkedIn notification a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So on a whim, earlier this week, I was checking. I'm like, I got a message. Oh, she answered me like a day after I asked her.
Oh, no!
And that's been like a month and a half ago.
Oh,
I
no.
never got back to her. And I still haven't.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that is... Anyway, Christmas is a time where we would want a T-shirt designed by then as well. Mm-hmm. So there better be a Christmas this year. Is all I was saying. So I don't... Is Marvel still like 4 weeks out on their FOCs? I know that...
I think they are, yeah.
Like Image and Dark Horse and for the most part DC have rebounded.
We just this past week, I want to say, did March 1st FOCs for Marvel.
Okay.
So that was the end of January?
March 1st is a choke-a-horse week of books. The number of books Marvel has alone coming out blows my mind, and I don't understand it. They have 5 separate Star Wars books coming out. They have so many number ones. They've got both Rogue and Gambit and Cosmic Ghost Rider. 2 new number ones from Stephanie Phillips.
Yeah. It's Stephanie Phillips week at the House of Ideas.
It is such a big week. I looked at this list and thought, this has to be a mistake. Are they doubling up? No, they don't. They're not DC. They don't do that.
Yeah, I can't even think of what holiday would be around there where they would need to do that.
It is horrifying how little, I don't know, discussion or planning or forethought is put into release schedules.
Yeah, a lot of to get back to something that we were discussing way earlier in the episode, a lot of the reason why the weeks have been pretty bad for us financially is because nothing's come out. We send out an email to our subscribers every Tuesday night after we've pulled all the subscriptions for the week to give them an idea of what's going to be in their boxes starting on Wednesday. To give them a little forewarning, here's how much we've got set aside for you. So if you wanted a different book or if you wanted to budget, here's what's in. We do that through Managed Comics. Thanks, Brian. And one of the things we can see at the end of the process is how many emails got sent out. Only people with received subscriptions that week get an email.
Yeah, you're not going to get an email if you don't have a subscription coming in for the week.
So you have to have something come in off of your subscriptions from either Diamond, Penguin Random House, or Lunar.
We talked about this a few weeks ago, how you and I both eagerly look at those emails.
We do.
I get them every week. You get them quarterly.
But on the manager side of things, we get to see how many went out. This week, this past Tuesday, so
13.
The 31st of January, we sent out the lowest number of emails since we've been sending out emails through Managed Comics, which is almost a year. It's insane. That's how small this past week was for releases. The fewest amount of subscribers had anything come in since we've been tracking it.
Ridiculous.
That shouldn't happen.
No.
This was not a skip week. This wasn't the weeks where the New Year's week, the Christmas week, more stuff came out then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We had more things for subscribers those weeks.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
This was just the first Wednesday in February.
oh, it's good. Budgeting in the comics industry is a thing that
Right.
is impossible to do for retailers. It is impossible. You cannot have a set amount of money you spend per month
No.
because the release schedules are impenetrable.
Yep.
Quick note about comic publishers releasing comics where the all the invoices list all their product as net pricing. Don't ever do that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do it, AWA.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
You want to give a heightened discount? Go nuts. You want to make it a net cost item? Please don't do that.
Yeah, it means we have to change everything in the system because otherwise we get rung up at our cost.
Yep.
Net pricing is, we'll pay the net pricing. We don't want to import the invoices with the net pricing as the retail pricing.
Net pricing, Patrick? More like not pricing.
Oh,
Bam.
I see what you did there. Bam. Wow. Wow. And then a quick
Axel
little...
Alonso's crying right now because of that.
Oh, well. A quick note on the differences of two of our distributors, Lunar and Diamond. Here's one tiny difference between the two of them. Both of them have automated systems for when you have shortages, damages, overages.
Penguin Random House does too, but that's
Sure.
not relevant to this conversation.
Well, theirs is more annoying. I definitely, like, you don't, theirs, you have to go back, there's more steps to theirs.
sure.
I don't like theirs.
Okay. Different discussion.
But they are not, and honestly, I don't know, in this particular situation, I don't know how they do it, but when you are logging something in, like because I don't check in DC, can you immediately be like, hey, damage, shortage, or is it a step afterwards?
Like checking it in through Managed Comics?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, because when I check in everything else through Managed Comics, I have to go back to Diamond, pull up that invoice.
Oh,
and
no, I
then
mean, I
say,
still do it through the Lunar website.
Okay.
You can,
Okay.
I'm sure you can do it through Managed Comics. It does export a little thing at the end.
Yeah.
But I usually just go into...
Sure.
Because it's usually just a few things. And yeah, Penguin Random House has their way of doing it, and Diamond has theirs, and Lunar has theirs. So it's just like, I'll just go to their site and deal with it that way.
So, for example, this past week, we were overage books from both Lunar and from Diamond. We were overaged 5 copies of Briar from Boom Studios, and I think 1 copy of a DC book. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what it was. Just 1 copy. Diamond will say, we acknowledge this overage. We are not going to ask for them back. It's not worth our time to send a call tag and have you ship these handful of books.
Right.
Like, if you $50 worth of stuff or more, they'll ask for it back.
Yeah, like if you ever get an extra omnibus, they're going to be like, we'll take that back,
Yeah,
thanks.
and they'll send you a tag. So you still have to box it up. But
what amounts to less than, $20 worth of comics, they're probably just going to be like, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Lunar immediately bills you for it. There is always okay, you got 1 extra? We'll bill you for it.
We did get
Or-
overaged on a bunch of Lunar stuff last
Or
this
do you
last
want to
week.
send it back on your dime? Then we'll credit you for it.
I said I do want to send back the extra 12 copies of the DC Power one-shot. $10 one-shot. Yes, I'll pay shipping on
During
that.
Black History Month, really.
We'll see if they sell. If they sell, I won't send them back.
Okay.
They can bill us.
But yeah, it's immediately like, okay, we're going to bill you for those. What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's your mistake.
Yeah, there's not a lot of leeway
Yeah.
with Lunar, unfortunately.
I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with Diamond, but that's always been a thing that you can count on them being like, nah, it is not worth your effort or our effort to get these books back.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that Penguin Random House is even at the level where they don't have a way that you can even tell them what you got overaged. They're
Yeah.
just like, we don't care. Like, donate them. Throw them away.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
they don't want to know about overages. They'll care about damages.
I remember when we
Shortages.
first found that out, you were like kind of aghast because you're like, don't they want to know where their inventory went? Like, don't they want to know that they don't have these to double
they're-
check?
Don't you have to reconcile in your system why your numbers don't match?
Apparently they don't. They don't even want to hear about it.
It still kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, Diamond's always been really good as far as being logical about what's worth sending back and what's not worth anyone's time. Like, thanks for telling us, we don't care.
Yeah. However, we care about your time, and we're grateful that you chose to spend it with us. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.